Hello, I'm Rochelle Ferguson-Biahi, filling in for Annette Young. Welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world, coming up in the programme. 100 prominent French women face backlash for signing a letter saying the legitimate protest against sexual violence has gone too far. The letter also criticises social media campaigns like #MeToo. German MPs back a law allowing female staff greater transparency over the wages of their male colleagues. Meanwhile, at the BBC, the gender pay row explodes back into the open. And after Iceland became the first country in the world to make gender pay gaps illegal, we ask what next for the country in its battle to eradicate gender-based inequality. Here in France, the actress Catherine Deneuve is one of 100 prominent women facing a backlash after signing a letter saying the legitimate protest against sexual violence has gone too far. Now, the letter, published in the French daily Le Monde this week, criticises the wave of denunciations in the aftermath of accusations against Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein. Well, the text also denounces media campaigns like #MeToo and its French equivalent #Balance ton porc or Call Out Your Pig for triggering what it says is a new Puritanism.
Has the Me Too movement gone too far? Yes. Well, that's according to iconic French actress Catherine Deneuve and 99 other prominent French women who have signed an open letter published in the newspaper Le Monde. In the article, they claim men are being unfairly targeted in a witch hunt. Rape is a crime, but insistent or clumsy flirting is not. As a result of the Weinstein affair, there has been a legitimate realization of the sexual violence women experience. But now, this liberation of speech has been turned on its head. The piece quickly became the most tweeted story in the country.
Women who don't understand feminism and blithely criticize the #MeToo or #Balance ton porc movement do everyone a disservice.
Was waiting for this. Now women are turning on women.
She is perfectly entitled to this view. The new Puritanism must be rejected.
It has stirred debate online, both in France and abroad, with many criticizing the article's lack of empathy for victims of harassment.
The failure to grasp that a woman, another woman with a different story, different values, a different set of likes and dislikes, attractions and repulsions, could grieve a trespass upon her body is really a failure of the imagination.
On Wednesday, one Australian writer and social commentator published her own response to the letter in The Guardian. On the nuance between flirting and sexual harassment, she says,
"Me and all the other women who have exposed the damaged tissues of the shame inflicted on us are quite clear-eyed on the distinction. That's why we're so angry, not because we're puritanical, as the letter claims."
Amongst those who have also expressed their anger at the letter, feminist Caroline de Haas.
Each time you trivialize or delegitimize this violence, I think you leave more space to predators and less to victims.
The letter comes just months after the Balance ton porc, or Rat Out Your Pig hashtag, galvanized thousands of women in France who shared their experiences with sexual harassment. But here in France, unlike in the US, the hashtag led to few public dismissals of men accused of sexual harassment.
Next, a week after Iceland became the first country in the world to make it illegal to pay men more than women, German MPs have backed a law that would allow workers to sue their employer if it can't justify gender wage gaps. Now, under the draft law, medium-sized companies would need to explain to employees how salaries are calculated. Larger businesses would need to report regularly on how they're tackling pay inequality. Well, meanwhile, the BBC's China editor Carrie Gracie resigned this week, accusing the broadcaster of an illegal and discriminatory pay culture. Nick Rushworth has this report.
Carrie, is it possible we could just have a quick word with you?
Enough is enough, she says, quitting her prestige job with the BBC, accusing it of breaking equality law. The BBC's China editor Carrie Gracie did so, saying that there was secretive and illegal pay inequality at the heart of the corporation.
What I'm talking about is pay discrimination, which is when men are paid more for doing the same job or a job of equal value. Now, that is illegal. And I think it's time the BBC stopped being in denial.
Because I would not wish to be remembered.
The row over BBC pay goes back to last July, when the broadcaster revealed that 2/3 of its on-air staff earning top salaries were men.
But I don't believe the current pay
The
structure is
hashtag
fair.
I Stand With Carrie drew strong support in the UK. Among the countries that stand out in terms of equal pay is Germany. Legislation there in force from this month will ensure greater transparency. Women working at companies with more than 200 employees can ask to know the pay of 6 of their male colleagues. Management has 3 months to reply and correct any difference.
It's good to be able to have a way of knowing. It's a personal question. You can't really ask otherwise.
I would use this option. It's important for women to fight for equality. So if we can do this, we should do so.
There's still some way to go. German men on average earn 21% more than women.
On January the 1st this year, a law came into effect in Iceland mandating that companies and employers with 25 or more employees need to prove they pay men and women equal salaries. Well, the government has committed to eradicating the gender pay gap by 2022. To talk more, I'm joined by Brynhilde Heider Omirsdottir of the Icelandic Women's Rights Association. Hello and welcome to the 51%. Tell us, if you will, how hard it was to actually get this signed into law.
It was not hard at all, and I'm very proud of my parliament and of my country to have passed it, because what happened was that in 2012 Iceland introduced something called the Equal Pay Standard, which is a pay management system which allows companies to go into their books and make sure that men and women are being paid equally. And the standard was in effect on a voluntary basis, and dozens of companies had already started to implement the standard. But the parliament felt that the change wasn't happening quickly enough. So a bill was proposed last year, and it passed overwhelmingly within a couple of months. And to our great surprise and our great joy that it did, that we as a society basically affirmed that we want this to be a priority for our future.
Now, within that bill, Iceland's Article 19 states that employers must undergo something called pay certification. Just talk us through how that works.
Mm-hmm. So basically, the pay certification is based on this equal pay standard. The equal pay standard is a system, guidelines, rules and regulations that companies can implement as they go through their payroll to, number one, assign value to a specific job, and then number two, to make sure that sort of like the experience that the people doing that job are being paid fairly for the value to the company. And but also sort of like taking into account the work experience, how long the people have worked for the company, the education. So as soon as a company has undergone or implemented the standard, they go through certification or an audit to make sure that everything is okay. And at that point they receive a certification that they are an equal pay company.
It's fair to say, though, that Iceland has for a very long time had legislation to guarantee equal pay.
Yeah, we passed the first legislation in 1961, guaranteeing equal pay for equal work, and so that's coming up on 5-6 decades now, and nothing has changed. So that's why we're so excited about trying this new approach, because in effect, what this law does is that it moves the responsibility of fixing income inequality away from the employee onto the shoulders of the employer, that the employer needs to prove that they are paying equal wages. It's not up to the employee to actually figure out that they are, number one, being paid unfairly, and then number two, to sue.
I mean, you said something earlier about this having been already conforming with international standards and having been translated into English. How optimistic are you that that's going to be implemented in other countries, many other countries throughout the world?
Well, I'm hoping actually that the media attention on the law that was just passed in Iceland will make other countries interested in seeking information about the equal pay standard and to adopt it, because obviously Iceland cannot write standards for other markets. We can only write standards for our own markets. but we have this fantastic new tool at our fingertips, and that we're hoping that other countries will just knock on the door and ask to borrow it.
So this is a huge step for Iceland. What challenges lie ahead when it comes to gender-based inequality?
Well, obviously, it's not only income inequality that we need to worry about, but also workplace safety, as we can see now with the Me Too movement for the past few months, which is in effect a question of workplace safety, that men and women can go to work without facing harassment or sexual harassment or violence. So that's also a huge issue that we need to address on a social level.
OK, Brynhilde Heide, Ormer's daughter of the Icelandic Women's Rights Association. Thanks very much for speaking to the 51% today. Right, that's it for now. Don't forget you can connect with us via our Facebook page. There's also France24.com 51%, or you can send us a tweet at _51%. Well, thanks for your feedback so far. And yes, please do keep those comments and suggestions coming in. So until next time, it's bye for now.